And we are back. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. We are here on another lovely edition of the Doing All Right podcast. Brian, before we get started, quarterback talk in the streets. Hey, just a quarterback. Hey, we watching quarterbacks, Brian. We watching Dylan Gabriel, Quinn Ewers and Jackson Dart. We're going to talk about those characters in a little bit, man. But Brian, when I be seeing news sometimes, I pick up my phone and start texting people. I say, what's happening here? But man, Brian, sometimes I see news, man. I just put my phone back down and go on back to doing what I was doing, Brian. Yeah. This Browns Dak Prescott thing makes no sense, Brian. You agree?
No, absolutely. Yeah. And matter of fact, I'll let you finish. Go ahead. I know you had a good thought on this about.
Nah, I just feel like it makes zero sense that you've invested in Prescott. I think the Browns are pretty invested in Watson. There's contract things that are in place that'll make this not make sense. And I think if you're a team, and the Cowboys say that they're always trying to win right now. If you're a team that's trying to win right now, ditching Dak Prescott makes no sense. And I think Dak and Schottenheimer are kind of tied at the hip, so to speak. You know what I mean? So I think nothing's going to happen with one that doesn't happen with the other, Brian. So I'm just looking at it, and it makes zero sense to me. And I wouldn't even know what compensation this alleged rumor would even you know what I mean? But
would it draw? Yeah,
it just wouldn't make sense, Brian. But go ahead, please.
Yeah. I and these are the things or the times when I love what we do.
Yeah,
I love my podcast and stuff with you. I love my podcast and stuff with Love of the Star and Jeff Kavanaugh, and I love my stuff with DallasCowboys.com, whether it's a draft show or the break. And I love my job, my 2 to 7 job on 105.3 The Fan. I hate these times.
Yeah.
I hate when I have to text somebody in the organization or a couple people in the organization and ask, is there any legs to this? And for the most part, I always get an answer back of I saw you do a podcast on Joe Milton.
Yeah.
I text a couple guys, podcast with Joe Milton, or talk about Joe Milton. The guy says, we're working on some things there.
There you go.
Boom. Got it.
Something.
That's all you have to say. Yep. Got it. Thanks. This is one of those things when you text somebody this and they just say no.
They just cuss you out.
And it's not even cussing me out. It's they know that I have to do my job.
Yeah.
And it's just a simple no. And I always have to say, I'm sorry. Thank you. Because I know how ridiculous some things are.
Yeah.
And just from the sheer magnitude of what cap hits and all this you'd have to go through, the cap gymnastics, as they'd like to say, just to make something like this work.
Wouldn't make sense.
But you have to ask.
Yeah.
You have to ask. And if you don't hear back, maybe they're working on something. Or, hey, we're trying to do something here. Okay, I'll let you know. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we're cool. But this is the time when that's when I hate my job. When I have to ask somebody of something that is it's beyond ridiculous. It really, really is. And if you watch the clip, I've got a good source telling, and going strong.
Yeah.
Going strong. And Sean Sharif, who I work with at 105.3 The Fan, says, hey, listen, this guy's not a click guy. He's an older guy. He's been, he's done broadcasting. He's kind of a legend there in Ohio and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, fine. But then I'm running it down. Jane Slater's running it down.
Yeah.
Charles Robinson from Yahoo is running it down from the Browns end of things, saying, hey, I'd just like to say from the Browns ends of things, this is not true.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, fine. But it's one of those things where it just seems like to me, and God, I hope they don't all of a sudden say it's not true, then all of a sudden, but just the sheer what you would have to go through to do this doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. So, are the Cowboys hunting quarterbacks? Sure. Are they interested in trading their quarterback? No, they're not.
Yeah.
No, they're not. They're just not. So that's where that's at. And like I said, I just feel bad when I have to ask that question because there's 100 other things I could ask that will help the situation. Like I say, Joe Milton.
Sure.
Working on something.
Yeah.
Working on it. That's all I hear. Working on it. Cool. Then I know that this is not something that that's just make believe, and then I could go work the New England angle of it. Okay, what's it going to take? What are you going to have to do? What do we, then you get the New England side of things. So
yeah,
this part, that part of your job really, really sucks.
Sure.
Because you're just wasting somebody's time to ask, but you do it.
Bro, I tell you what though, man, you want to know what made it almost believable, which is why it probably got 1 million views on Twitter. He was like, "Hey guys, I got to tell you something." And then he took them damn glasses off, bro. Brian, anytime somebody got to take their readers off to get the point across to you, I said, wait a minute, let me sit up in my seat. Brian, if he would have kept his glasses on and said it, I was like, man, this ain't even worth a thought. But Brian, when he went, now listen.
Yeah.
And he said 2 good sources. I say, wait a minute. I need to talk to somebody.
Dak's got a no trade clause in his contract. Yeah,
Brian, we saw Dak running around outside
I know
the field the other day.
This is what happened. It's so funny that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Because we do have an advantage working at the Star. You and I, when we do go walk to the studio.
Right, you say we do what now? What you say we do?
We work. Oh yeah, we work at the studio. and even though you're hilarious with your, hey, I'm just a guy with a camera, a microphone, and I don't even work here. I don't even work here.
I'm a guest.
I'm a guest.
Traveling man.
They let me park right out front.
That's it.
They have a nice little card they give me when I walk in there.
If I'm not back in an hour, they're gonna tow my truck. You know what I'm saying? I don't work here.
I got a nice little card with my picture on it, and if somebody wants me to pull out my card and show them who I am, I can pull my card out, and here I am. I'm a guy.
That's it.
I'm supposed to be here.
I ain't nobody. Voch Lombardi not even on the car. You know what I'm saying? It's just fella. You know, I go straight to the studio and straight back. I can't even look at the people that's on tour. I got to do like this. I don't work there, bro. But what's our advantages, though?
It's funny. Well, the advantage we have is we do, when you're walking by, well, you got to look to your right.
You see stuff.
And you see a guy, a big, tall guy out there with a baseball hat working with Britt Brown.
Yeah.
And you're like, I've seen that body type before. Mm-hmm. Boy, he's skipping along there pretty good. Keep walking. Just keep walking. Just got to skip along.
I can't tweet about it. I can't take a picture.
No, don't take a picture.
I'm like, hey, he look good over there.
But you're one of those things where, like, I get on air and I'm like, someone's talking about it, they go, well, what about Dak? Or they say something, well, this is not true. I go, well, let me tell you something is true.
You look all right.
You look all right skipping around out there with Britt Brown.
He had a little bit of pep in his step. He's good to go.
He's bouncing around pretty good for a guy with a bad hamstring for a while. So, yeah, that I can report and be like 100% sure that it's right. That I can be sure of. So, yeah.
Yeah, man, we're not going to buy into that nonsense. We can talk about some quarterbacks.
We can.
That could possibly be Cowboys if that's how they want to get down. If they want to get down like that.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, we got 3 guys.
Yeah.
You ain't got to rank them for me. I just want to know who you think is my favorite and who you think I like the least out of Jackson Dart, Ole Miss, Dillon Gabriel, Oregon, and Quinn Ewers from Texas, Brian. Who's my favorite and who's my least?
I think you actually liked Jackson Dart first.
Okay. I
think you liked the accuracy of Dillon Gabriel second, and Quinn Ewers was third.
You got it, Brian. You got it. And I like how, because, quarterback is normally boring, but when you see different types of guys, it kind of spices things up for you a little bit.
Sure.
Jackson Dart, much better than I thought he was. Brian, please.
Did he remind you anything of J.J. McCarthy when you watched him?
I think a little higher of Jackson Dart than I thought J.J. McCarthy.
Fair enough.
I like Jackson Dart and Will Howard more than J.J. McCarthy and Bo Nix.
Fair enough.
That's where I'm at with it. Jackson Dart was a little better than I thought he was.
Yeah.
Gabriel was interesting because he's like a robot almost. Like all of his movements, his mechanics, like that, like he's a coaching film. Hey, y'all need to watch what Dylan Gabriel's doing with his feet, but he's a little bitty, you know.
5'11".
Quinn Ewers is a madman, and he's sometimes guy.
Yeah,
you know where I'm at with sometimes guy, Brian. So that's kind of where we at with it. But we can start with Jackson Dart. Brian, I'll start off, but I do want to ask, are you still having the sentiment that Jackson, like you like Jackson Dart maybe a little more than Sanders, Brian? Like you,
no, I don't.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't.
Gotcha.
Not after the study.
Yep.
Not after the study. And I thought I would. I thought I would. And some of the throws that Jackson Dart makes is impressive. The playing out of the shotgun and the play action game, and I think you talk about an offense, and I mean this in no disrespect to Lane Kiffin and that crew. Well, he's done a great job of just kind of honing in on this side of the field or this side of the field. When you throw the ball, this side of the field, this side of the field.
Sometimes the other side don't even run, Brian. Sometimes they're over there kicking it. Yep.
Don't even run. And and that's where I give Lane Kiffin credit, because he's had a couple guys come out of Ole Miss. I mean, he's had that Matt Corral, remember that guy several years ago, and then now with Jackson Dart, transfer from USC. Yeah. But he plays to the strengths of his quarterback. Yeah, he does a great job with that. Guy's a good play caller, because there are opportunities that he has. And I think with Jackson Dart, you even see the ball going down the field a little bit more than some of the other quarterbacks that we've seen. And so, but I could not put him over Sanders. Yeah. And I have him right there in the same round, probably somewhere between, player 20, player 28, something like right around there in the stack.
Yeah. Brian, the first word that I have on, just in my notes, because I don't write notes for a lot of these guys, but I wanted to write notes for the quarterback, because this is a little special. It's quarterback. First thing I wrote in my notes, when his feet are set. Man, Brian, when his feet are set, boy, is he accurate. Mm-hmm. He throws with anticipation, man. He looks, he looks to be very decisive. He doesn't, do a bunch of set when everything is on track and his feet are set, right? Good to go. You are right. I think the offense is limiting, and we kind of said this when we were talking about Harris, the wide receiver. It's one side, but that allows him to make a read quickly and get rid of the football when everything is on track. Sometimes, with these quarterbacks that's in the middle, I like to worry that they may be check down Charlie guys.
Right. Not this cat.
Ain't no check down Charlie in this cat.
No, not at all.
He shoot the shot, Brian. He shoot the shot. I think, and I could be wrong. You can tell me if I'm tripping. I think it's either going to be short or deep. I think the intermediate doesn't really show up that much in the offense, Brian. It's either like, all right, we're going to throw the bubble or a hitch or a slant, or we're going to go for it. And Trey and Trey Harris does a good job of like getting him out of those situations, Brian. I think he's a really good athlete. I think, they can move the pocket. I think when he's escaping, he kind of goes forward in the pocket and, climbs. I would like to see him climb, stay, and make the throw. But if he's climbing and running, hey, good to go. You can be solid at that, right? But then I put a little space in there, and I put when pressure comes. Yeah. I think when he gets pressured and he gets uncomfortable, because Brian sometimes, and he's sometimes got with this, he'll feel the pressure, right? Get rid of the football and take the hit, which is fine. That's NFL stuff. Yeah. Other times I think he'll feel it, his eyes go down, and he turns into run around man, and he gets sacked a lot because of that. If he doesn't turn into run around man, I think he'll make an errant throw with a defender draped on his body. You would like him to take the sack, but he'll just try to dump it out real quick, and that'll end up being some sort of disaster. Or he'll move around off platform that he's not really good at. Right. And he'll try to make a throw downfield, and he'll throw it and hit Pam Oliver on the sideline or something. He loses all of his accuracy when he's errant and he's running away from somebody. Yes. I don't think the Ole Miss O-line was that bad. I just think sometimes he'll hold the ball, he'll drop his eyes, and he'll get himself sacked sometimes. I think he was in the high 20s or something like that. But Brian, I got him in the 3rd round. I got him behind Howard. Right now it was Ward, Sanders, Howard, Dart. But with quarterback tax, I can see Dart being like a high 2nd round guy. But that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I did. I put him in the 2nd round because I kind of feel like, to me, with this guy, and he's a transfer from USC. Okay. So he comes to Ole Miss in 2022, and he's been the starter ever since. And he plays entirely from the shotgun, and the majority of his passes come off play action. I mean, it's always that fake and then throw, fake and throw. This guy can, when he throws the ball in rhythm, he could be hard to stop. You know, he gets into a rhythm in a game, he could be really hard to stop. I think you're dead on right. This guy loves to play from the middle of the pocket.
Yeah.
He does. He's got confidence his guys are going to hold up, and he's going to throw it from there. And so I think he does a really good job of putting the ball where it needs to be. And I feel like he understands coverages to a point where he knows where he wants to attack it. You know, he's like, okay, I got to read over here. Here I am. I'm going to figure that out. Boom, I'm going to get him the ball. And so I think it's rare when you mentioned this, when he doesn't get rid of the ball quickly, it's a little bit of a problem for him.
Sure.
And so I think he knows where he needs to go. I think he'll throw the occasional YOLO ball, you know, where it's up for grabs, and I don't know what's going to happen. But his receivers do a good job of bailing him out. You know, when he makes those crazy ass throws, his receivers can bail him out. I think he's good with the touch when it needs to be. I think he can put some pace on it, you know, when he needs to as well. I think his throws do help his receivers some, because he can hit guys on the move, and they're going up the field. I said it, and I'm glad you agreed with me on this. I think he plays in this scheme where he doesn't have to make a ton of reads.
Sure.
He tends to work that one side of the field or the other, which I mentioned. The intermediate and the deep area of the fields, I think that's where he kind of excels in. That intermediate and then down the field. I said this guy's more of a natural athlete. I don't think he's an elite athlete by any means.
Sure.
I think he moves to buy himself time in the pocket or scramble when necessary. I think this guy is good when he has to play up tempo. You know, when the pace becomes a little quicker.
Sure.
I think that kind of, you know, that's naturally kind of speeds him up, and then I think he could play that way. And he's gotten better every year. If you look at the metrics and the numbers and stuff at Ole Miss, he's gotten better every year that he's been there at quarterback. I thought at one time I could put him above Sanders. Sure. I can't, because Sanders makes more plays off platform.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're at in the National Football League now.
Yeah.
I think that's I like him better than Howard. I think there's things about Dart that maybe with the deep ball stuff, the down the field stuff, I think Howard is one of these guys that is just, I think his toughness is impressive.
Yep.
I think Dart runs when he has to. And man, I could kind of be in that mode right now where, like, well, wait a minute, Brian, you know, I just think the downfield game, the quick game, the tempo game, I think is a little bit better with Dart. That's why I have him under Sanders. Howard's underneath those guys in the 3rd round for me right now.
You know, Brian, quarterback is so weird in this way, and I have this thing I always say: we have no idea who's really good at quarterback. You know what I mean? We just make our evaluation. We just throw our dart. No pun intended there. But Brian, the one thing about Howard that I'm going to give him, like, if the 2 quarterbacks are close, the one thing I'm always give Howard is that those big games, man. Playing well, in those big games. I think that means something to me. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Ole Miss may not be as talented as Ohio State, but they got some pros on their team too. You know what I mean?
Right.
But just that slight competitiveness, and he ain't just fall back like Riley Leonard, because we're gonna watch Riley Leonard too. Riley Leonard throw for 100 yards in a damn playoff game. We were like, all right, cool. Nah, man, Will Howard. So that's why I just kind of got him ranked over Dart just a little bit. I see like Will Howard like a Kirk Cousins type, but I see Dart like a competitive backup type, if that makes sense a little bit.
No, absolutely. I think the most impressive thing about Will Howard is the fact that, yes, he has talent all around him, but he had to make throws.
Yeah.
Somebody has to take the snap and deliver the ball. And those games that he played against, Indiana against Tennessee, Oregon, Notre Dame, those games that they all played to, Texas.
Yeah.
That son of a gun played well. Sure, he really played well. I just think there's something with Dart that getting that ball out and kind of, and I just a little bit more, but you cannot discount Howard in those games.
Sure.
You can't. If somebody like yourself wants to fight for Howard, you say, okay, smart ass, go watch every playoff game he played. Tell me how he played.
Sure.
They won every single one of them, and they won the national championship at the end.
Yeah.
Something to be said of that.
Yeah. Bryan, damn boy, you just know if this kid was like 6'3", he'd be a first round dude, man. If this dude was 6'3", if Dillon Gabriel was let's say if he was 6'5", 230, Bryan, boy, we'd be having a different conversation about Dillon Gabriel, man. But he transferred twice or something like that, Bryan. I know you good with the background stuff.
Yeah, he went from Central Florida to Oklahoma to Oregon. The stops he's made.
Fantastic, man. Just I remember watching him at Oklahoma, and then now he's here at Oregon, and maybe that should go in your report that, hey, maybe if he gets a whole bunch of different coaches, he'll be able to, deal with that, deal with that change in scheme. But I said it earlier, man, he's robotic, and I think when talking about quarterbacks, I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. Dart's kind of smooth with he's but Gabriel is mechanics. I could say about Dart, when he moves his feet, the throws kind of get a little weird. Man, I don't really see Gabriel dealing with that. Like, he's so robotic and, just mechanic with his. And I think he has to move and step up around the pocket to make those throws. But those throws are gorgeous throws, Bryan.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll hurt you because I think Oregon had a little drop problem, Bryan. And I didn't realize it until watching just a bunch of Gabriel. But I'm like, and it'll be these tight window throws. I'm like, damn, that's an NFL throw right there.
Yeah.
But we got a drop here. And I thought that was unfortunate. I don't think he's a big arm guy, but for his range, for his range that he's going to throw in, he gets the ball out just fine. I think he has a catchable ball is what they'll call it, Bryan Broaddus. I think he did make some reason, and it's kind of hard because I don't know the plays, you know what I'm saying? But I did see him kind of scanning the field, and that just says to me, okay, well, he's looking for guys, fine. When he had to navigate the pocket, I think he was athletic enough to do it. But I think he wants to get in there and Drew Brees it up, Bryan. You said it a couple weeks ago, and now me watching him, I think that's right on point. Now, Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer. That's a whole nother conversation. But as a short dude and how he gets rid of the football and the accuracy, he's got like those are big shoes to fill for him. But that archetype of dude, that's what Dillon Gabriel is, and he's had his fair share of big games too that he was really good in. He ain't win as many as old boy, but he was in those games and he did well for the most part. So Dillon Gabriel, Bryan, I got him in the 4th round, but I got him ahead of Ewers, and we'll talk about Ewers in a little bit. I bumped Milroe to the 5th because I didn't realize how much I ain't like Milroe until I watched these other guys or whatever. But I got Gabriel in the 4th, Bryan. That's where I got him.
Yeah, I have Dillon Gabriel. I put him in the 5th myself.
Okay.
And I put him in the 5th because, to me, I do not see. Of course, he doesn't fit my eye from the physically how he looks.
Sure.
At 5'11", I just don't think he's a very powerful guy throwing the football.
Right.
But what I do respect about this guy, he was a finalist for the Heisman Trophy. He's an older quarterback, so he's had a ton of experience as a starter. He does play with poise. He does play with confidence. He doesn't let a negative play bring him down. He's a very calm player when you watch him play. There's high snaps. He gets it. He throws it out of bounds. He fights for another play. I think he's super accurate with the ball in the short and intermediate routes. It's rare you see him make receivers work. The misses do come when the ball has to go down the field.
Yep.
Okay. He just doesn't have the size, the power, the arm talent to horse the ball down the field. Really, the quicker the throw, the better for him. I did think he was effective moving around. I think he can elude pressure and make plays outside the pocket. He's been productive throughout his career. He really trusts his teammates and their ability to help him. But the thing about him is that, and this is where I felt, okay, if not me, where is his fit? His fit's with the Miami Dolphins.
Perfect.
He's like Tua.
Yep.
Smaller guy, not a lot of arm power, throws short, those intermediate, can move around a little bit in the pocket, left-handed even. You know, I kind of felt like if you could put him with a team like the Dolphins that understands how to play with him, he's a second or third round guy to them.
Sure.
But to me, I'm kind of looking at him like, okay, what am I going to do with my 5'11", 205-pound guy? You know, I mean, he's I just, the size of him bothers me.
Yeah.
And it bothers me because I know he's going to have to make some throws down. But if he goes to a team like Miami, who plays a little bit of that underneath, intermediate, underneath, throw it, let him run, throw it, let him run, that kind of offense, this guy might have a chance. I just don't know how many schemes there are in the league that this guy could play in that's that way.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that's one of the best fits for him, you know, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're rolling on the draft in day 3 and Dylan Gabriel gets selected by the Miami Dolphins. Wouldn't be surprised at all.
See, Bryan, this is the part of the breakdowns or whatnot where I think Ward is a starter. I think Sanders is at some point starter. I think Howard is a developmental, could be starter, and I think the same with Dart, right? I think Gabriel is like the first backup guy. Like I got him as I'm looking at him to be backup for me, you know?
Right.
So quarterback tax for him will still put him in day 3 somewhere. So
I think so too. I think so. I think, you know, the 4th round, like I say, I don't know what it is about me, but I do, that if you call it a prejudice or what, but I was trying to think of, okay, in my offense, where does he fit? How does he accurate? That's, you know, great and fine. But I know I'm going to need to, and he's been on teams that, like the Oregon team scored a ton of points. Central Florida scored a ton of points. This guy's got a lot of touchdown passes to his credit. But I think the measurables, this is the one time where measurables mean something to me.
Yeah.
You know, it means something. But I could very much see him going to a team like the Dolphins where they play like you play at Oregon. I could see that being a great fit for him. Now, interesting, Cowboys receivers coach, former Oregon coach.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting there, and you're looking for that guy, day 3,
he's gonna vouch for his guy. Yeah.
He's gonna vouch for his guy.
Yeah.
And people are gonna go, well, look what he did at Central Florida. Look what he did at Oklahoma.
Sure.
Well, look what he did at Oregon.
Sponsors, man. Sponsors. Do you have a sponsor, man? Yeah.
Got a number 1 team in the country for the majority of the season.
Sure.
You know, found a way to beat the national champion in Eugene. You know, but this is the part me where I think that measurables and strength for the position do matter.
Yeah. Man, bro, I wasn't a fan of this Quinn Ewers kid, man. Boy, right.
By the way, is it possible to give a shout out to Bennett Broaddus,
man? Shouts out to my guy Bennett Broaddus.
Shout out to Bennett Broaddus because I wrote my notes down for Quinn Ewers and I sent them to him.
Yeah.
And I said, "What do you want to add to this? What do you want to say?" And Bennett just fired me back this whole long. I'm not going to read it all, but he he had a really some interesting thoughts, and like he really gets into
Yeah.
his program there, and so maybe a little scout's eye, but Bennett I know he's going to listen to the show. He listens to our show every night, he says, and so shout out to Bennett. Thanks for your help on Quinn Ewers, but there's some things about Quinn Ewers you could absolutely like.
Sure, sometimes.
There's some things you can absolutely like about him. I just don't think there are enough of them. I just don't think there's when you look at, I mean, he has played in some really big games, and Texas was kind of wandering around in the wilderness with their football program, looking for that quarterback that and then Quinn Ewers transfers from Ohio State, and he's got him in playoff games. They've had some pretty deep runs with him at quarterback. There's a lot of talent around him, much like our guy at Ohio State. But there's times this guy could spin it pretty well. And I always talk about the rhythm and when he could be outstanding, but when he faces pressure, his accuracy and pocket awareness just completely fall apart.
Yep.
And this is the issue with him. And I don't think he's the cleanest reader of a defense. I think he'll walk into some sacks while he's attempting to read. I think he knows where he wants to go with the ball so he can get rid of it to be quicker and play with some touch. There's some pretty balls that go up the sidelines on wheel routes and touch routes and stuff like that, kind of get the receiver up the field. But man, he will miss some wide open throws as well. I mean, he will miss some throws. And there's snaps where you see it, throw it right into coverage, and you're going, what is he looking at? So I think he will struggle with that ball security in the pocket. I think he'll struggle with his escapability in the pocket. I believe he's dealing with some health issues. He's dealt with two shoulders. What else was he dealing with? I was talking with Bennett about this though, because I'm saying, well, people are telling me that he got hurt, that so I kind of feel like though that there are those throws where he could flick the ball with his wrist and be just fine. He can make some throws off platform, but he has to be careful not to get stuck on his first read, because when he gets stuck, then that's when he's likely going to get sacked. And, I was looking down, like say he's dealt with shoulder issues. He had the torn oblique that he had during his career. He played with it. He only played 35 total snaps from under center in 2024. I think he's going to need some footwork work in the pocket. I think he throws his fair share of screens, flares, check downs. Kind of that's what their offense is a little bit. But he also gets passes knocked down at the line of scrimmage, because I think he drops down and tries to kind of work it around people and stuff like that. So I have Gabriel behind him, but the thing about it, why I would take Gabriel down is, again, because of the measurables to me.
Sure.
But I think Quinn Ewers you got to give him credit for what he's done at Texas. But man, it just seems so much further away than the other guys that I've seen so far. And you're right. We're going to have to see Riley Leonard coming up, Kyle McCord, Tyler Shuck. There might be some guys that we see drive Quinn Ewers a little bit further down the board.
Yep. And
where he's at right now.
Yep. And the reason I have Gabriel over him is because I just prefer consistency.
He is consistent. You're right.
I just prefer consistency. Now, when you watching Ewers, man, you can see, and just going back to last year, when Bond was actually good, you can see those deep balls, man. He gets them out.
Alabama game a couple years ago, the game at Alabama, maybe it was last year at Alabama. He just launched this one. I mean, one of the prettiest passes you'll ever see a guy throw.
But man, he's one of those guys that because he can make every throw, he'll try to make every throw, and
he will.
I think it's not just like the accuracy sometimes. I just think, like, why did you throw that ball sometimes? Like why'd you throw that? Like, why'd you throw that with them 3-4 defenders over there? Like, he'll try to thread that needle, and I'm not the biggest fan of thread that needle guy. But I do think he's more consistent than Milroe. Like, Milroe's spectrum of inconsistency is the biggest out of everybody's.
Right.
Between Georgia and Michigan is crazy.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
No, it's crazy. Yeah.
Crazy. But I have a good feel about who Ewers is. Now, once again, Brandon, this is something that Cowboy fans are talking about, man. Dak's just not as mobile as he once was. At least there's a baseline of mobility that we're seeing from Ewers and Dart, that they're not they're not flying, but they can move around. They can run a little bit, So that's a conversation moving forward. The Cowboys are looking for quarterbacks. They're probably going to have a more mobile quarterback than Dak is.
If you had to take a flyer, on a guy, and again, we haven't seen McCord might go a lot earlier. That just what you're hearing.
Sure.
Shuck, from Louisville. A lot of people really like him. We'll see how you and I have him rated. If you had to take, say that a 5th round flyer, a 5th round. Now, if you get an extra pick.
Yeah.
If you get an extra pick, you're interested in taking Howard.
Sure.
Right.
If I get extra third, yeah.
Yeah, I could see what you're doing there.
Yeah.
Okay. If you had to choose between
it's Milroe.
Milroe. Oh, Milroe over. Yeah, okay. That's what I was going to ask you.
I'm taking Milroe.
It took me, I was trying to kind of how I was going to set this up.
I knew exactly if I had a free pick, like, hey, Voch, you just pick one of these guys and just sit them on your bench and just see what happens.
Yeah, I'm with you on this.
I'm taking because out of Milroe, Ewers, and Gabriel, and just some of the rest of guys, I think Milroe has an elite trait, and these other guys don't. These other guys may play quarterback better than Milroe, but Milroe's athleticism alone, and his ability to run alone, you have to get those kinds of dudes on your team. And I was mad that we didn't explore Trey Lance a little bit. I think that's what Cowboy fans really wanted to explore. Like
I agree with you there.
We put Trey Lance in the game and made him throw the ball 40 times, 50 times. I'm like, man, let's see what the athleticism is about, because a lot of these teams, they get by with their quarterback being more athletic than you. So I at least know what Howard, Gabriel, and some of these other guys are, Ewers. I have no clue what Milroe really is. And if Milroe goes to, let's say he stumbles to Buffalo or something, and like one of those Dayball characters, Dayball's say he goes to the Giants in the 5th round, and Dayball gets and does that quarterback magic shit that he like to do, or John Kidner gets hired or something by the Jacksonville or something. He's just a third string quarterback, and they say, hey man, let it rip, do this, hey, put your foot there, and Milroe turns into a competent passer, not even a great one, but a competent passer with that super elite athletic thing that he does. Milroe could be a dude, but he ain't got that right now.
See, that's the thing about it is we all want to talk about with Josh Allen, and I always, Josh Allen at Wyoming. That wasn't always pretty tape. But
Dayball puts work in, man.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes, and maybe, Ken Dorsey was on that staff there in Buffalo. And Ken Dorsey's on your staff with the Dallas Cowboys right now. So maybe Ken Dorsey might be not worth a damn as an offensive coordinator, but maybe he's a quarterback whisperer guy. Maybe he's got something that he says to these guys, and they magically, their feet are better, they read better, because Milroe's got stuff you can't teach. Milroe's got that kind of that stuff that you're like going, man, if you do figure it out with him,
you got a dude.
You got a dude.
Yeah.
You got a dude. You absolutely got a dude. Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like I said, there's a side of me that would like to see Milroe if it's going to be a day 3 thing.
Get Milroe.
Give me Milroe.
It'll be fun to cover. Because look, Dylan Gabriel at the end of the day ain't getting no taller, and he's not going to get any more accurate. Yours is who he is. I think some of the other guys, they're going to go in day 1 and 2. I think Milroe is the fun project you want to have, and just watch that dude rush for 100 yards in preseason. That'd be fun as hell. His film, like you said, there's film you could watch against Georgia, and he looks every bit as Ward and Sanders as you want to, I mean, and then you watch, that Michigan game, and it's like
he looks like a guy that's never started a game.
Yep.
For the first half of the game. I mean, you're like going, what the hell? So I'm looking forward to Friday and seeing what we have with. I kind of have an idea what we're going to get with Riley Leonard. Riley Leonard's probably going to be down there for me a little bit, but I'm interested in McCord from Syracuse,
Sure.
Shuck from Louisville,
Yeah.
and Rourke from Indiana, because you're talking with the guys we're about to do, especially the McCord, 6'3", 218, 6'5", 219, 6'4", 220. The old crusty scout guy, that kind of fits my eye a little bit.
That's the only reason why I added these guys, towards the end. I was like, people's talking about the kids. Let's just talk about Rourke a little bit. But,
I know exactly. I appreciate you doing it, but maybe I get in trouble with that. That with quarterbacks, I get in trouble with the measurables.
Yeah,
I do get in trouble with the measurables. I'll admit that.
Yeah, Brian, we are at 180 players, man.
How about that?
Moving right.
I'm going to be real honest with you. Mm-hmm. I got about 20 more guys in me.
Yeah,
I hate board clutter. God, I hate board clutter. I don't want to put 200 guys on that board, but I will. But and it's not going to keep me if I have to go over to it. I'm going to keep one because there's some guys we still have to do. There's a couple of guys that we still have to do.
Brian,
I know people keep asking me about, but I'm going to be very, very selective. I think of my 20 guys.
I am so competitive, Brian. I want to get to the 7th round and go, oh yeah, I watched Bryce Cooper, cable dude from Kansas.
You know what? I will keep watching. I'm like you. I will keep watching.
I'm not gonna watch a whole bunch of them though, but I'm gonna watch some notable names. But please.
By the way, we got our draft show. You know what we're gonna do on the draft show tomorrow?
I won't be there, but what y'all gonna do?
Draft show tomorrow. Okay, we got segment 1 is Tommy on the road at Texas. Maybe an update from Nick at Texas A&M, and Bobby with some news around the league. We got Twitter on the 20.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, okay. Here we go. I recommended this segment. It's called Pick 2. One prospect at each position for 44 and 76. Example, wide receiver, Harris at 44, Besh at 76, something like that. Just pick the positions. We'll see how far we can go and save the rest for next week is what we said. He said, Zach, love the segment, but let's save polarizing prospects for a few weeks.
Okay.
Maybe that's when we'll get you involved. But yeah, what I want to do is I'm going to explain it to Kyle is if you don't take one of these positions on day one,
something's going to be missing on.
Yeah. Like receiver, running back, cornerback, edge, or tackle.
Sure.
You don't take one of these guys on day one.
Yeah.
Give me a pick for that position at 44 and one at 76.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
That's hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had this idea today too for the draft show, and Brian, I don't even know if I wanted to share it. I just kind of wanted to just
save it for your Doing All Right podcast.
Yeah. Well. See, we kind of do it here, kind of sort of. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I see. What's the idea?
So for Twitter on the 20, instead of asking questions, this is my idea. Let's have draft court and ask the fans, like, if you disagree with us, like, call us out on our, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could be like, oh yeah, I like powerful guards, so I like Marcus and Bo. And somebody be like, well, if Marcus and Bo ain't strong at all, so what you mean? I want the audience to hold us accountable one day.
You want the smoke.
Of course I do, Brian. You know me. Of course I do. And I think draft court would be a cool idea. Like, we're so visible and we do an hour show. We just talk. I wonder if people catch our, you know what I'm saying, consistency. Like, yo, Voch, you ain't say this. Like, hey, when you was talking to Nick Harris, you said Michael Williams was a good run defender. But over here, you said he not. Where you at with that, Voch? And I was like, yeah, okay, you're right. I had to go watch the film again, man. Michael not good. So, and I think that'll be a cool little idea. But
I like what you're doing, man. Any interaction with the fans, good for me.
That might be a Doing All Right exclusive, though. You know what I'm saying?
I think that might be a good one too, because they will call us out in a heartbeat in those comments for sure.
They sure will. I'm built for that. I'm built for that. I don't want people harassing our colleagues about it, but we'll see. It might be a Crown Global Media thing that we do one day.
I like what you're doing there. I like that.
Hey, but ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all for tapping in with us, man. You know what I'm saying? It's on the way. Y'all be patient. It's on the way. All right, it's on the way.
Announcements very soon. Announcements very soon.
Soon. Next 4 quarterbacks we're going to watch is Kyle McCord from Syracuse, Tyler Shaw from LSU, and Curtis.
No, Louisville.
Pardon me, Louisville. And Curtis Rourke from Indiana, and we're going to double back to Riley Leonard from Notre Dame. We're going to watch those guys on Friday. So y'all be sure to do y'all homework and put your work in so we'll be ready to go. All right. Appreciate y'all. Please, VOCHLOMB, so we can get paid on social media, and Bryan Broaddus. Y'all tap in with him. He'll be answering questions at 5 a.m. when he's watching film. All right. Y'all hold it down. We'll catch y'all next time. Love you to pieces. Crown.